You have mentioned your parents a few times in the conversation so far, and I want to bring it back to the personal side of things. Obviously, our parents have a huge impact on all of our lives, but yours in particular, in their passing, probably had a terrible and magnificent shift in your life. Can you talk a little bit about how that changed your worldview, professionally as well as personally?
Yeah, my mom and dad were undereducated. My dad never went to high school. My mom, I think, went to high school, in Jamaica, but she was a nurse's aide, and she cleaned bedpans. And when I talked earlier about reflecting and reimagining, she was able to reflect on her past, reflect on the patterns of how people seem to do well. They seem to do well when they have education. And so she reimagined a new life, a better life for the kids. And she worked all the time. And so her values of education, delivering early, delivering well, performing well was really important for me. And so she was my biggest role model. If you look at the town of Phoenix, there weren't many. And my mom, even though she was undereducated, and my dad, who was a man of the cloth, they both spoke goodness and integrity, hard work and dedication and transformation into my life. And so my life is dedicated really to what they stand for. And they say that when your brother's in trouble, so are you. And my father and mother always lived that way. It was always about service to other people. And so that's sort of how I live. And humanity, especially in this day and time, when humanity seems to be undervalued, or human life seems to be undervalued, based on how much money you have, based on the color of your skin, and based on the gender that you claim or were born with, and who you love. It's a shame. And as a Christian woman, as a woman of faith, I just think about, love, and that's really what this whole world should be about. So it's changed a lot. I'm not a pastor or a preacher, but I do want to live my life with integrity and value add to anything that I touch. So whatever I touch, my goal is to, I learn something, I do it, and then I transform it. And no matter whether it's a human being, whether it's a loaf of bread that I try to bake, my goal is to learn how to do something, do it, and then learn how to make it better than when I first started. So yeah, that's my mom and dad.
Oh, that's wonderful. That sounds amazing. On that similar sort of vein, I wanted to ask you how you define success. You've had these extraordinary executive roles, and you're on a number of boards right now. That takes time. That takes time out of your life, and if you let it, it will take all of you. And so I wanted to understand where you find that balance with family and work, where you're able to be who you want to be in both environments, where you're able to really see the success that you define for yourself.
Yeah, that's great. I think everybody needs to know what a success means to them, because it's all different. And for me, it was having my true north. When I said that my mom, and I didn't say it, my mom and dad both died within a year of each other when I was at IBM. And they died to lack of access to healthcare, affordable and quality healthcare. And so I realized that if you don't have your health, you really don't have much. And so even though I was a technologist and I was working at IBM, I realized that I need to not let happen to other people what happened to my parents. So whoever's uncle and aunt and sister and brother and mom and dad, what happened to my parents should happen to nobody else. And so I devoted my life to technology in the healthcare environment. And so that's where I've been the rest of my career. And so having a true north and being able to work towards that true north, to me, is success. The second way, though, to get that success is through priorities, because I'm not only an executive or a boss or an employee. I'm also a wife. I'm a spiritual creature. I'm a shoe enthusiast. I love shoes. I eat too many potato chips during the pandemic and I gain weight. All these things come up. So you're more than just a business person. And so I created my own version of looking at all these things and saying, well, how do I rack and stack them? And I created something called the 5 Fs. And the 5 Fs are your faith, your family, your fitness, your finances, and your future role or your career. But future role starts with an F and career starts with a C. So I call it future role. And so depending on what season you're in, are you in the learning season? Are you in the earning season in your career? Or are you in the returning season? And I'm in the returning season in my career. I've already learned, and I do believe in lifelong learning, but there's a period of time when you're only learning. And there's a period of time when you're doing more earning than you're doing learning. And there's a period of my time now that I've retired where my goal is to return to society, return to humanity. So if you know what season you're in, then you say, well, what's more important? Is it my family or is it my future role? I've had to turn down jobs because my son was a sophomore in high school. And there's only, and it was a relocation opportunity from New Jersey to California with the Neutrogena business. And I had to say no, because I knew that I couldn't take my son with me, because you don't take kids out of high school. You just don't want to do that. And then I couldn't leave him with my husband because I didn't believe my husband would take him to get his SAT prep done or take him to the college, visits. That's something that I felt that only I could do. And so I've had to put my family in front of my future role. But then there are times when I've left my husband for a couple of years to go to a new job in Milwaukee or in Illinois, and I put my future role in front of my family. And then at all times, I'm into my fitness. So I work out 5 times a week, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. So it's really about juggling those 5 Fs, knowing what season you're in and what really matters to you. And then being able to ask, I would say to my husband, do you mind if I go and leave you for 3 years and go work for GE Healthcare? And he said, yeah, go do it, but this is your last rodeo. You're going to retire when this is over. So it's about, knowing that even though I chose my future role, over my family, but my family had to have a say in it. And he had to agree and approve that that was the right thing for me to do. So I think that's how you do it. You just juggle, and, which of the balls, can drop to the ground for a minute and which of the balls you have to always, have in your hand.